Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Today I've got DJ in the house. DJ is a personal client of mine. He and his fiance are running a monster sales team. We're going to go deep into his model. We're going to talk about hiring salespeople. We're going to talk about converting leads and how this guy and his fiance, soon-to-be wife, have a team doing 25 transactions minimum per person productivity. So enjoy today's podcast. I want to basically say to everybody listening right now, thank you as a listener, as a friend. And I want to thank Rich, my producer, standing right over here behind the camera, for just doing an amazing job. It crossed over 1 million views or downloads or whatever it may be. I should probably know that. But hey, thank you. So I got an insanely great guest, a personal client of mine who's here from Florida on a surf trip with his 13-year-old son, who's a total rock star. DJ, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, dude, tell him who you are, where you're. Dude definitely came out because he's been surfing for the last couple of days, so I'm just channeling.
He's ready.
Yes. So tell him who you are, where you're from, give him a little background, and then we'll get into a bunch of stuff on online conversion and building a rockin' sales team.
All right. So DJ DellaSala, we live in St. Augustine. I also have a team in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's about 30 miles apart from each other, the northeast side, just on the border of Georgia.
Yep.
So it's great.
How long have you been selling real estate now?
Since 2006.
Why did you so you got in the business in 2006?
Great timing.
Do you always time things like this?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
We're talking about that.
Are there any stocks that you're buying right now that I should immediately sell?
Yeah, I'll text you in a minute.
So why'd you get into real estate?
So I was in the restaurant business. I was young. I was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I had a friend upstairs that started selling real estate in, another town 20 minutes down the road. And it was again property, and they were selling condos basically on a raffle system.
Yeah.
And they were basically 600 to $1 million plus and just killing it. So He's like, hey, you have all the intangibles to be a great salesperson. Mm-hmm. Why don't you get your license? I was like, awesome, let's do it. Yeah. Get my license. I ended up interviewing with a few people, ended up working at a small independent brokerage that ended up working for a builder, and there was 25 homes in the subdivision, sold them all and lost them all. And it was kind of a rude awakening of.
So tell us about it. I mean, what was that like? I mean, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows would be my guess, but give the listener, maybe there's somebody listening right now that's brand new in real estate or brand new in insurance or mortgage, or things go up, things go down. We just had this conversation with your son. Like, what was that experience like and what did you learn from it? I mean,
you could do the math. So my son's 13, so it was right when I had him. So I knew I had to do something to provide for him and to give him the life that he deserved. So Failure wasn't an option, and I needed to do whatever it took, and just kept grinding. I would be the guy that sat in the office all day, every day, just hoping that a top producer would be like, oh, I'm too busy, take this lead. And it did happen. And, slowly but surely I'd save and fast forward to 2009, 2010, I bought my first Trulia lead, for like $200, which was crazy back then.
Sure.
And, the rest has just been kind of on that. So I think.
But you made it through the dark ages.
I made it through the dark ages.
2007, 8, 9. And it's fascinating to hear that you bought your first lead in 2009. We're going to talk a lot about online lead generation. But with giving him maybe just that sense of your background, before we get into online, fast forward to today, could you describe your business model? Because you got an independent real estate company. Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? Maybe why did you do that first? Why did you start your own company?
So I had, my wonderful fiance, Lindsay McGuire at Coldwell Banker, we were working together there, and I was approached by an REO company because I was doing a lot of investment properties, and they approached me and it sounded really good. I'm completely unorganized. I looked at Lindsay and I was like, hey, do you want to come with me? We ended up going there, and basically we're our own brokerage at that point.
Yes. What year was that?
That was 2012.
Okay. So you were still in the REO world in 2012. And a lot of
short
people
sales.
Moved. Mm-hmm. Short sales a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of teetering down. That's what we found out when we got in, and we were like, hey, why are we doing all this work? Yeah. I have constantly people asking me, DJ, what do I do when I get my real estate license? Mm-hmm. So I was like, let's open up Ancient City Real Estate. Ancient City being the oldest city, St. Augustine, Ponce de Leon, and all that great stuff. So we did, and we furnished this almost 2,000 square foot office with all these desks, conference table. And Lindsay looked at me like I was absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing, DJ?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to work, I promise. And put an ad out on Craigslist, hired my first agent, which he's still with me today.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. He was interviewing between us and a big box brokerage, and just decided with us, believed in us.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we kind of got...
Okay, what was that? Take me back, though. What was that like? So you start your own brokerage, you go all in, you probably spent a couple $100,000, I'm guessing, either in loans or leases. You got to get a fax machine, you got to get a copy machine, you got to get a reception desk, telephones, internet. It was nothing.
It was crazy. And Lindsay and I basically did our whole business plan on a manila folder. We knew we had to carry at least $1 million in pending volume at all times just to pay the bills.
Yes.
And it was a funny story. My copy machine that I went out and bought was like, I got sold on it. And I brought it back and Lindsay's like, that was the last piece we needed. What did you do? It finally just kicked the bucket last month or 2 months ago. Did a post about it. It was me hugging the machine. But it was tough, but we believed in ourselves, and we've always bet on ourselves since then. And I guess what I learned most from 2006 and 2007 in the dark ages then was it always gets better. And there's going to be bad days and good days, and just look forward to the good days and know that we're all working very intentionally for that greater good. Yeah. And that's why we wake up every day.
I love it, man. So thank you for sharing that. So describe the business model today.
So in 2013, when we opened up, I was going to grow a very large real estate company, and we were going to compete with all the big, I was going to take on the world, right?
With everybody, yeah.
So we signed up with Boomtown. We started, generating leads. I started giving out leads to all of my agents, and quickly realized that not everyone wants to do the follow-up and convert leads like I do.
Yeah.
So we did that for, 2 years. We ended up going to an event that you hosted in Orlando and, started
the Blueprint event.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we started looking at the team structure and started, I was looking around and was like, hey, Lindsay, this is what we need to do. We need to start a team. We need to do this.
Yeah.
So we did. And
this is what? This is 2015?
Mm-hmm.
So just so we get chronologically, you bought your first truly elite in 2009. What caused you to select Boomtown then as a platform? And then I want to get into the whole sort of team.
Yeah. So basically, then it was there wasn't very many. There was Top Producer and there was a few other ones, and we tried a few, and they were just way too clunky. And we demoed Boomtown, and it was fit the bill for everything that we needed, and still does. And
at that time, though, you were thinking more traditional brokerage. We're going to buy leads. We're going to do Google pay-per-click. People weren't really doing Facebook ads the way we are today then.
Right.
So it was really just Google pay-per-click, and you were just going to give them out to the agents at what splits?
So we started at 70-30, up to 3 million. Then when they reached 5 million, then they went to 80%.
Yep.
And then 7 million was 90-10. No fees, no anything. We charged up. I think we were charging $100 per person for Boomtown, just to kind of cover that expense.
Yeah. So at what point did you say, and maybe it was at that 2015 event, but what was sort of the tipping point for you of maybe the way that we're currently doing it isn't working? You had to have some signs.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I knew we had it in us to grow like we should. I knew we were surrounded by a lot of talented individuals. We had, I think at that time, up to like 22 to 25 agents, and I was looking around, I was like, hey, they're really talented. And I think if I gave them the platform and the direction they need and the coaching that they, would be successful. Mm-hmm. And it worked. Yeah. And I happened to probably I brought on my first agent in 2015, and then I brought on 2 more in 2016 and quickly realized, all right, we know what we're doing. We're able to scale this. We really
just for clarity, you mean like, because you already had 20 plus agents in the brokerage. You started taking on agents on your own team.
Sales team.
And so what was that like in the early days? Like you know what I mean? Because we hear this all the time, especially from independents and also oftentimes from brokers that, that have to sell real estate to keep their doors open and make the profit that they want, right? Smaller companies, 1 or 2 off situations. What was it like in the early days with your agents seeing that you were suddenly focused over here as well?
It was tough, but I think the way my desk up until a few weeks ago was out in the middle with everybody. My culture was always, hey, I'm around, I'm in the trenches with everybody, and I'm there for everybody.
Yes.
The same as if you're on my team versus not. I still have, probably 15 agents that are not on my sales team. And I think we're up to 24 people on the sales team. There's nobody I wouldn't mentor the same. They just get different splits and different opportunities that we were able to provide.
Yeah. So help us. So first of all, thank you for that, right? Because it is what it is. Everybody's going to get a piece of you. It's like, what are the ones on your team going to get differently, maybe from a lead flow standpoint?
100%. My expectation of them and they have expectation of me, the same as the agent.
Yeah.
And it's very clear.
So let's break that down, right? So we got this sort of clarity around the model, which is one of the questions I want to ask you about. So if someone's listening right now and they're thinking about DJ starting a sales team, right? Mm-hmm. They're going from solo entrepreneur to maybe they already have their assistant. They've got their partners in place, mortgage, title, and escrow, everybody else, but they've gone too far on their own. It's about leverage now. What have you found are the best qualities to look for when hiring salespeople for your sales team?
So my sales team's pretty crazy. My average age on my sales team's probably 26. And like I said, there's 24 of us.
Compared to the average real estate agent across the country in the US at least, which is like 50 something. So why? Like is where you sell real estate, is everybody really young?
So I've noticed that we live in a college town and Flagler College is right there and we have UNF in Jacksonville and there's a lot of talented individuals that come out of college that either are going to go to a financial company and work in finance or they're not sure what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So we kind of found this model of, hey, we can almost, I don't want to say guarantee because nothing is guaranteed, but we're able to provide so many opportunities for the team that they're able to really hit the ground running. So we brought on, I think 70% of the team was new people, brand new to the business. But what I look for in a person,
please,
bringing energy to the room. If they come in and they're just dead, I mean, energy, passion, and a personality.
Yeah.
If I can, and they want to be accountable, which I'm very direct. It's the most direct.
Okay, that was interesting. But you had like energy, kind of fun, life of the room, and be accountable. And your tone changed when you said accountable.
Because I love my agents. Yeah. They love me. Yeah. One thing they know is the accountability never falls off.
Yeah.
And I think as a team leader, I think a lot of team leaders kind of skirt around that a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're scared that the fallout might be if they hold them accountable too much.
Yeah.
But with our model and everything that we're able to provide, I think it gives us I want to say an edge, but it is an edge. We're generating so many opportunities every day.
Yeah.
And 70% of the team will make hopefully 6 figures this year.
Okay, so I want to unpack it because you said a bunch of things. No, it's great. I love it. So first of all, how do you, like when you're interviewing someone, people usually show up for their interviews as, 25, 30% of who they actually really are. Because I'm on show and I really want to come to work here.
Right.
How do you call them out on that and make sure that you hire the right person? Do you do disc profiles? Do you do some in-office work? Like, how do you know that they're right? That's my first question.
So typically, I do all the interviews myself and Lindsay. Mm-hmm. I look them up on Facebook. I kind of see what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
Takes 5 minutes. I look them up, see what they're doing, what they're like personally, what their interests are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it, people hate, I don't use a disc test.
Yeah.
If I'm on the fence with somebody, I will.
Sure.
But it's really passionate because online lead conversion and what our model's based on is about the passion and to get people to like you.
Yeah.
And if I don't like you instantly or Lindsay doesn't like you instantly,
there's a good chance our clients are going to like you.
Right. Instantly. So it's kind of like that thing where it's very going to bring something to that room.
You know me, man. There's no wrong model and there's no wrong hiring profile.
Right.
The key is that you know your hiring profile and that you follow through on it.
Mm-hmm.
So hiring profile is one. Let's before we go into online lead generation, which we've got a lot of questions that I think you guys are really going to appreciate, like literally 6 or 7 questions just about that. Talk to us about what an agent gets when they come to work for you. Like, this is an important one also. That person that's looking to hire their first salesperson, like, if you're a broker, you're going to say, or like my own company, hey, here's the benefits of joining my, my firm.
Yeah, training, all that stuff.
So what do we get? I join your firm. What's the expectation?
So the expectation is we're going to be in the office every day. Like I said, I built my foundation on being in the office and all of that. So on average, when we start an agent off, they automatically get leads into their system after their 2-week training. We've kind of automated that online, which they kind of go through a training process
What's the 2 weeks? Because these are brand new agents.
Brand new agents.
Contracts?
We're talking about contracts. We have contracts. We have sales training. We use Workplace on the back end of Facebook to kind of go through all of the different categories, which I find it to be great.
Yeah.
So we have sales training, we have contracts, and then we have tests that they have to pass. They have to get a 90 or better on.
Give us an example of one of the tests.
So one of the test questions are, what is escrow, or what is percentage down on a cash transaction on escrow?
Yeah.
A lot of people, we go through all these training models and they're not asking these real questions on what it's like to be in real estate. What is somebody going to ask? What is Noah going to ask? What is Rob going to ask when they do decide they want to move forward on a deal?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of intentional training on that. And then while they're doing that in the office, they're listening to my agents come in. So from 9 to 11, we prospect, and everyone's in the room prospecting and making the call. So they're hearing it, they're listening, they're kind of, I think that's great training. Yeah. It's on the spot training.
So you got 23, 24 team members prospecting from 9 to 11. What are the other agents, the sort of independent, real estate agents that are not on the team? What are they doing when that's going on?
So I have another team in my office there a lot. Luke and Sadie's team. So they're also kind of following the model because it's working. And so they're in, and it's funny, and we get everyone fired up, and it's an open office. So it's easy to get kind of sidetracked, but for the most part, it's cool. And then you hear somebody say something off the wall, and then everyone's like, "Whoa, did he just say that?" And it's like, "Yeah, he did. I'm going to say that."
That sounds like our sales team.
Yeah.
So high energy. Do you ever get somebody that's like, "Okay, man, I've gone through the 2 weeks of training. I don't know if this is making phone calls feels weird. I'd like to be in the corner by myself. I don't want them to hear me." How do you manage all that?
So that's our biggest. So when I say that, when I'm interviewing people, I'm like, "Hey, Tom, we're going to minimally make 100 calls a day. I want you to really blow my mind the first 2 weeks. I want you to show me that you're ready to do this." I've had people pass this test in 5 days. No pressure, but let's see what you can do. Bring it to the table.
Yeah.
I would say after that 2 weeks, I have almost a 95% retention rate. Now, up until that, there is some definite fallout because, like you said, they show up 30% of what they are.
Yeah.
DJ, I really want to do this. I want to make the calls. I want to make a great life. I want to make a living.
Yeah.
And then reality sets in. It's like, no, he really wants me to make these calls. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So back on the sort of the benefits of joining. So I join you, I get 2 weeks of training. It sounds like I've got some real world training. Like this is what actual buyers say to you guys. Like, and this is the script of what you're going to use every day, LP Mama and all the other fun stuff that we discussed. Then they're on the phones, right? What happens once they get on the, do they get monitored while they're on the phones? Or is it just like, old school real estate? Anyone that's been around for a while, like here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck kid, you're on your own. Like what happens?
So we have, I think about 28,000 leads in our database, from years and years.
Yes.
So, but really, a lot of my business is Zillow and, so they're good portal leads. So, but have fallen off. So we send those, we'll upload about 150 to 200 of those into them to practice on, to get the cadence of calling.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. Every hire ends up pulling one out of the dead, which is just gets them fired up.
Yeah. It's funny because I was going to ask you, what do you do to activate old leads? And hearing that you have 28,000, that's a good question. But it sounds like every
part of the training
person, everybody's doing it.
Right. And part of the training, the question that's asked, if a lead asks you this, what do you say?
Yeah.
A lot of the questions are based on that. And
yeah.
My opinion is people will be like, oh my gosh, you're having them call leads. I'm like, hey, I'd rather call those leads a dead lead than than new people come on.
Activate someone that's maybe heard from the company, been to our website, done, even if it was 7 or 8 years ago, it doesn't matter. You're still calling and saying, hey DJ, just checking to see how your home search is going. Right?
Okay. So it's been great.
And then what about from a monitoring standpoint? I know I keep like just digging in on all this stuff. What else? Like, do they have to report in from 9 to 11?
Yeah. So
is there a meeting before and after?
So we do a morning huddle every day at 8:30. So like I said, the office in Jacksonville and St. Augustine, I bounce back and forth between the two. Majority of the time I'm in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
We'll do it on Zoom. I bring it up, talk about something.
So you're connected both offices in Zoom, or everybody's?
Everyone's in the office, but we have one computer up on Zoom, and then I'm given the 5-minute little spiel, get them fired up. It's very intentional, very try to be inspiring as much as possible.
Yes.
And then, so we do report. We use CT right now for reporting every night. They have to put in their numbers. It has to be in by 8 a.m. the next day. So part of my daily routine is every day at 8 a.m. I kind of log on and I check who has put their numbers in. Mm-hmm. The accountability side. Yeah. Part of that, what we do to rotate our leads is we have lead shifts. We do lead shifts from 9 to 6 every day. Okay. So in order to be on lead shifts, you have to log your calls, log your appointments, log your deals, and don't forget CTE.
Yeah. So just to be clear, lead flow means like the Glengarry leads. Like these are the hot inbound Zillow leads or the hot Google pay-per-click leads. The whole thing is internet marketing. Right?
The whole thing.
I mean
90% of
everybody's clear.
Which he's going to hate that,
No, I'm his coach. I'm like, hey, we have some people in your database we might want to write. Like, we've been in that discussion, and I'm going to keep prying until we work that. So they get, if they report all the numbers, if they follow through the way, sort of the expectation of being on the team is, right? Which is no different from being on a sports team or anything. Like, hey, this is how we do it around here.
This is how we do it.
That's right, baby. Montel Jordan. So then they get access to the Glengarry leads.
Right.
And do they get a truckload of them? Do they get one or two? Like, help us, like, break it down for us.
So we do it in 2-week shift. We do the shifts every 2 weeks. So if you're a brand new agent on my team, you're going to start off with 2 per week. And then from the top down, basically it's like, hey, who's been showing up the most? Who has the most pending? So they get first pick, and that goes all the way down to seniority after that, based on that.
And how do you transfer the leads? Because with Zillow's shift, a year and a half ago, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens, right?
So right now we have 2 offices and 3 shifts in each office per day, so there's 6. Mm-hmm. So on the back end of Zillow, you're only allowed to put on 5 people right now. So we just kind of assume that it's going to go to the right person. Through Boomtown, we have Shark Tank. And so it pops up every lead that comes in. Yeah. So if they see it's a Jacksonville lead, if you're in Jacksonville, you claim Jacksonville. If it's in St. Augustine, they claim St. Augustine. Yeah. It's the honor system on that. Yeah. And it works out really well. Sometimes they'll accidentally get excited and they'll just transfer it back amongst each other. Yeah. Direct calls are all routed. We use call action for that. Yeah. So
direct calls like, hey, we just saw a sign.
Sign. You guys, so they call us from our Zillow profile. We have a really strong profile. We get a lot of direct calls from that. So those will first answer on that because we don't know what area they're in. Yeah. So they're great. And then before 9 and after 6, it's free. It's fair game.
I'm listening. I'm just thinking right now as I'm listening to you. Some people would say that all sounded a little loose, like honor system. They could check here, because Shark Tank with Boomtown, and others would be like, "Oh my God, he is micromanaging these people." What say you?
I mean, I don't think it's it's work. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we're providing. I mean, everyone knows if you're in real estate, these leads are not cheap. No. But I can also take a first or second year agent and they'll close 25 to 35 deals. Yeah. And make a great living. Yes. So with that just becomes that accountability and, hey, everyone has their systems. Everyone has their things that they do. We have found this one. It works really well. Yeah. And
no wrong way to do it.
And now we're ready to scale it.
Yeah. So I have this note that says, let's talk online lead generation, but we're kind of already going there. In 2009, you bought your first Trulia lead. Mm-hmm. That was in the middle of the dark ages. That didn't end in your part of Florida for a long time. So what were you thinking back then?
It was a little different. So everywhere else in Florida was kind of crazy, but we live in St. Augustine. It's gorgeous. It's a beach town. a lot of secondary homes, condos, and different things that were still generating some income.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of people coming over from Gainesville, Georgia, just coming to our beach. We have a lot of history.
Yeah.
So they were making a little bit of money, and people had nowhere else to put their money. So people were picking up these condos for $150,000 to $200,000, parking their money there and getting a 5 to 7 to 8% return, which was good back then.
So you found by buying leads on Trulia back then in the day, you were picking up on those out of town investors potentially and more.
Yeah, people looking online from New York, that were saying, "Hey, I love Florida. I need somewhere to put my money. Here you go." And it worked.
Okay, just so for context for the person watching or listening right now, DJ and Lindsay now basically control everything for Zillow and Trulia and also Realtor.com, or no?
Yeah, not as much, but yeah.
But I mean everything, like literally
everything.
every zip code.
Yeah,
for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
I think I'm almost 80% and 90% of the zip codes.
So that's going to have, the world today. It's like Democrats and Republicans, man. When you say Zillow and online leads,
right?
People love them or people hate them, right? Clearly, you're on the love side. So give us the evolution, though. You didn't go 2009 buy one Trulia lead to 80% of every zip code in your marketplace. So kind of take us like on a year by year graph of, you started in 2009 with a budget of $200 a month. Right. Today you're at $80,000 a month. So what were the steps?
So just very intentionally and very methodically, just because I'm conservative. And I know you wouldn't think that as much as we spend on online leads, but very conservative. And I wanted to look at...
you understand ROI. So I actually would say you're very conservative. You're like, if I spend $1 and I make $4, it's all good.
And back then it was great. We did. Yeah. So unfortunately, we didn't have the systems. And like I said, I was completely unorganized up until 2012 when I met Lindsay. Yeah. My database was my head.
Yes.
And I would be
just for the record, because she's going to watch, there is more to this love relationship. She's going to be your wife soon.
She is going to be my wife in August.
This isn't just, hey, baby, you're just so organized, married me.
No, it was great. I mean, I was kind of struggling. I had so many leads, and I kept spending more money. And she's like, "Why are you spending more money when you can't even keep up with the leads I have?" But because I'd see the MLS and I'd be like, "Oh, I have that person," and she'd be like, "You're crazy." Yeah.
So give us that sort of financial.
So I think 200. I was probably 200 and 2009, 2010. It probably went up to probably 500. It wasn't until 2012 really that I made the jump. So I had sold a $2 million multifamily unit off of a Trulia lead, and the commission was like $35,000. Yeah. And I basically took that chunk and said, "Hey, I'm going to go all into," at the time, Trulia and Zillow were split. Yeah. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to dominate the one side," and it was Trulia. Yeah. And so I did a 12-month buy. They give you like the 25% discount. And I think I went in for about $5,000 at the time. And happened to be Lindsay had went $5,000 into Zillow at the time.
Really?
And rewind to when we both met in the REO, and she had just bought that and I just purchased that. We were like, "Hey, we're going to dominate both portals right now. Yeah. Let's rock it." Yeah. And we did. So we kept there for probably in that first, because we were opening up the business and everything. We dabbled into PPC, and once we opened in 2013 to 15, but 2015 we made the jump to about 15,000 a month. And then 16, about 22,000 to 30 to 45. Now this is just on Zillow. Yeah. We have Realtor that we spend about 15 to 20, 15. I'd say 15,000 a month right now. Okay. And then Facebook. We're doing a lot of branding right now. So we talk about a lot of online leads. Yeah. Branding's become my number one.
Let's close it out though. I want to just because we're going to get into. We're going to we're more on this. Certainly with Boomtown and with other methods of creating brand as well as managing online leads. So you have this steady climb, and of course someone's going to say, "Okay, wait a minute. So you're spending, let's just say it's $60,000 to $70,000 a month all in. do you net any money?
Absolutely. It's a business, right? Everyone can do the math.
Yes.
So right now we're
Like, how many transactions last year? What was the volume?
last year we did 260 transactions at 65 million. This year we have closed and pending. We are at 240.
Yeah.
And on pace, our goal is 500.
You better get over 500.
I better get over 500.
Sorry, that was the coach speaking there.
But we're trending that way.
Yeah.
And we're able to just keep scaling it. The margins are not as great as they once were because
Sure.
of, pricing going up, commission compression kind of going down.
Yeah.
So, but it is profitable and it's great. But it's not just about me. We're able to help so many of our agents.
Yeah.
And, we have an agent of mine, Brittany, that just bought an investment property. She was my first hire as the team when it started. Byron just bought his house, closed on it a few weeks ago. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these young in their 20s, maybe in 30s, all of a sudden buying their first house.
28, 27.
Yeah.
I mean, it's neat to see. And,
Yeah.
and that's really fulfilling.
Yeah.
Um,
So somebody's going to ask, okay, but what's his average split on the team?
So the average split on the team, we do 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
We charge a brokerage fee on that as well. So that's customer side.
Yeah.
But yeah, straight
Straight and simple. 50-50.
We do 60-40 on personally generated business.
Yeah.
So
Did they do many of those?
they don't have time. I mean, honestly,
I love
like Tom,
that.
like
Time.
just so you know, Tom's on me. Do open houses, do all this. I'm like,
all the time. Yeah.
they don't have any time.
Yeah.
Like every
we would
week.
like doing an analysis of them. Like, you guys have all these listings. You should be doing open houses. You need more buyers at lower costs. He's
Right.
like, they're on showing appointments all weekend
Like
long.
showing plans.
How many leads are coming in on a monthly basis, just so people get some context? For
About
how busy-
1,200 right now.
Yeah, so 1,200, and you got 9 to 6. You could be in lead flow, but you got to have undone all these other things.
Yeah.
And if you're making calls from 9 to 11 every day, and you're following up with old leads, you're always booking appointments. Plus the all the other showings that are happening.
Then you
Right?
gotta-
So they're busy.
The average person on my team, I have people that have 10. I have people that, and the average is about 3, but you have to think, you have inspections and all of those things that
course.
come along with that on a volume base. It's tough.
It's a busy business.
It's busy.
It's a busy business. All right, so this is actually, you're breaking down for me a little bit right now, which is how many leads can an agent handle?
So if you ask Lindsay, she would say 30. I would say 50 just because per month.
Mm-hmm.
And
New or managing 30 to 50 people that you're working through the process?
so that's new leads.
New leads every month.
Leads every month, 50.
Yeah.
We do move. We've gotten into a good flow that we'll move them around. Even the agents on the team are phenomenal about, hey, I don't think this person's a right fit. I'm going to send it over here.
Yeah.
And so that's helped a lot. But because I stay on the cadence of the 100, the follow up really happens. There's nobody that's fallen through it.
And you're watching it through Boomtown.
Through Boomtown.
Like, you're monitoring
Yeah.
all the leading and lagging indicators.
Yes. CEO. My
Yeah.
job is to make sure the
Yep.
business is happening, and
Yeah.
that's what I do. I make sure we're doing what we need to do.
All right. So Lindsay says 30. You say 50. I'm probably going to go with Lindsay's number, but that's just between you.
And everybody's different.
Of course.
And people,
Yeah.
what I found is not every agent wants 50.
Yeah.
And I think
Because what does that mean? I got to call,
Right.
text, email, do a bomb video. I got to boom, 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 boom. So I get them on the phone. Then I got to go show them a house.
right.
While I'm showing all the other ones' houses.
And I think that's been my biggest learning curve. So if you're starting a team,
Yeah.
kind of going back there, understand who the individual is. That we can't just run a team based on who we want them to be. We have to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And some agents might only want to make 60,000. It's hard for me. I'm like, hey, we got to do this. We always want more. But my biggest growth has been in the past year understanding like, hey, everybody's important. Everyone's needs are important, not my needs.
Yeah.
If they want to do 60
Yeah.
transaction, hey, I'll get you to 60.
Yeah.
If you want to do 20, 25 is the minimum to stay on the team.
Yeah.
If you want to do 25, then I'll help you get there.
Yeah.
So
That's going to be insane for some people that are listening right now. That like to think that you have to sell 25 houses a year to just be on the team.
mhm.
Do you cut people?
all the time. I try not to all the time, but yeah, we do have.
But you were pretty like all the time, like
I mean, it sucks. That's the worst. My worst days are when I have to let somebody go. It's the worst part of my job because the culture. Everyone talks about how culture is. My team culture, I think, is everyone's going to say that their team culture is the best. Yeah. But when somebody gets let go, it affects everyone. And everyone in there, it's a somber day. Yeah. We're
it's
all
like the trading deadline of every professional sports team or anything in business. When someone leaves, you have to let somebody go.
Yeah, but also too, a lot of the time they're in the decision because of hey, we're all doing this, and this. Why isn't this happening with this person? And
you got PIPs, like performance improvement plans.
Right.
Like you're not just walking in one day and saying, "Hey, you're gone."
Yeah. I think when you have an amazing culture like we do that can police itself and kind of work around itself and monitor itself, that's when I think you have an awesome team and an awesome culture because everyone's working towards that goal.
Yeah. So if you're doing the math, probably like I was, 360 to 500 leads, depending upon 30 a month, 50 a month, is a minimum of 25 transactions, something for all of you to be thinking about. And again, we're talking about Facebook leads, Boomtown, which is like, Google, Bing, etc., and then Zillow and Trulia leads.
Right.
How do you get the most from Boomtown?
I think the setting, the Shark Tank we utilize so much.
For people that may be looking into, Sync, Boomtown, whatever, all the players out there.
Right.
Fire away.
So we found that, hey, it works for our team and the routing rules and everything that we can create because we have so many zip codes. We can break it down into, hey, I like to put team members into geographical locations where they live so they can talk about, hey, I want to go to the grocery store. This is where my son plays soccer because that's how you're going to convert leads. Because people are buying the experience. They're not buying
relevancy.
Right. Yeah. So it allows us to route leads based on zip codes. It allows us to do Shark Tank. For those of you that don't know, Shark Tank lead comes in, first to claim it, they win. So makes a little dun-dun-dun. It's pretty cool.
I love it. All right, so I'm going to hit you with a bunch of just rapid fire questions. So you have 28,000 leads outside of having new salespeople coming in. What's the best thing you do to activate old leads? What's the best marketing hack, whatever?
So I broke it down. So we've been so focused on the calls for such a long time. Texting is working so well right now. Yeah. Even breaking it down even further. Yeah. One-on-one individual texting.
Yes.
So we all get in. We're like, hey, I have 150 leads on my system. I'm going to send this great bulk text. The rates are dropping. Yeah. Nobody's going to engage into that.
No.
One-on-one texts about specific properties have been working really great.
Give us an example.
So, hey, I just found this, Tom. 123 Main Street, just at the market. What do you think? Question mark.
Got it. And including a link.
Yeah.
Okay. Including a link. So then you can see MLS activity or Boomtown activity.
Correct. And you can see if they open it up, if they don't.
Yeah.
Another one that's been great, setting up my showing calendar for this weekend. What time's good for you? Just little nuances that might pick up somebody and might get somebody to respond. So there's actually a double contact rate on one-on-one text versus calls right now. Mm-hmm. So you got to think too,
like double the conversion conversation
contact. Yeah, so I look at contact ratio. So if we make 100 calls and we get 10 people on the phone, so it's about double on.
Send 100 texts, you're going to get 20 responses.
You're going to get 20 responses.
And again, we're talking mainly, colder leads.
Right.
They went to a site, they filled out a form, now we're following up on them versus like texting your friends in your database, where if that happened, I would argue that you have no friends, right? So that's an important distinction. So you're doing that through text. What's your opinion on sales competitions and challenges? Whether it's around appointment setting or, whatever else. Are you a fan? What's your opinion?
Huge fan. Okay. We just finished up a great contest and happens to be our best month ever. No contest. Yeah. July's looking good, but wish I had a contest going right now.
Yeah. So what did we learn from Mark Roberge, right? In October, Sales Acceleration Formula. If you haven't read the book, read it. He's like, if things are bad, throw a competition. Right. If things are good, throw a competition. If it's the end of the month, throw a competition. He's like, just throw competitions all the time.
We just did a killer one too, where we had the two offices and we drew names out of a hat, and we played tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
And we had 9 thresholds you had to meet. You had to make 3,500 calls to get the first one.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to the second one until somebody got the first one. So they were playing tic-tac-toe against each other. It was great.
There's so many people that are listening or watching this right now. They're like, 3,500 calls. They're like, we have clients that are like, coaches are like, please, could you just make 35 calls this week?
Right. But
I love it.
It's fun.
But you're also talking about one of the highest per person productivity teams in the country. So, no shocker. All right. So let me ask you another question. You touched on it earlier. Give me a little more on what you don't look for, or let me restate this, what you look for that would cause you not to hire someone.
Ego.
Okay.
Ego is a big one.
How do you know there's got to be some ego that's good.
Yeah, some ego is good. Just asking them what they're like when, what I do look for. I should have said this earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of my team has played sports in the past.
I was going to ask.
A couple college, athletes on my team. The competitiveness that goes along with people that play sports and things like that. So that's always a big question I ask. I ask everyone what they do for fun and get a lot of a person. Yep. What they do, what they don't like to do, what they do like to do.
Yeah.
If they get uncomfortable and they say nothing, definitely don't want them on their team. So things like that.
Yeah. Was it Kyle Whistle that once said, like, if they can't go drink sake with myself and the crew, they can't be a part of our team.
I mean, come on.
Right? It was like the sake test, right? Like that was it. All right. Last 2 questions. What's the hardest part about what you do?
The hardest part, like I said earlier, letting, somebody doesn't work out, but as more transactions happen, just more problems that come up. So it gets difficult at times. Other than that,
do you kind of live in the problem all day long? Are you sort of the deal doctor of the office?
It's not so much the deal doctor anymore as far as that goes, as just just different things that come up throughout the day. I mean, we have space that, just today, our we have the largest office in our complex. We have parking issues. It's just weird problems now. Through growth that we'll fix. It's no big deal. Just got to get more offices. So
Get more spots.
Get more spots.
Okay. What about the most gratifying part? What's the most gratifying part about what you do?
Just every day waking up knowing that I'm going to be able to help 45 individuals. It's so great. And I think moving forward, if I can grow this team to the potential that you and I talk about all the time, and if that number can double and triple and quadruple, and through hopefully this podcast people will pick up. I like giving. I like giving back to the agent community. I love our profession. I think a lot of people take it for granted. It's a passion of mine. I want agent development to be a big part of the future. I want people. It's cool. We're changing people's lives, not only in our company, but we're also selling people homes that they're going to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, when you think about this industry, like Matthew Ferrara talks about it all the time. Like, we live in one of the most important roles in our society. It's 17% of the GDP is housing.
Yeah.
But that's just a weird number. We're talking about where people live.
Yeah.
Raise their families.
Where they live.
Make their decisions.
Like
have their first kid.
If you move next to that neighbor that has a neighbor that has a kid, that now your kids are best friends, that could change everything
for everything.
And where they go to school, what they do. It's neat to understand what we do.
Yeah. I hope you guys saw what I saw, because his eyes just light up when he's talking about this. So DJ, as we wrap it up, first of all, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything you want to say to the Tom Ferry ecosystem? We've had 1 million+ people download these podcasts. The Tom Ferry Show. You come to all the events. You'll see him at the summit if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to this community? Just kind of wrapping it up.
If you ever have any questions, or you're at a point, whether you're at one, I've been there. I've been at 1. Now we're at 26. There's been ups and downs and everywhere in between. If you ever need any advice on that, let me know. If you ever online leads, and when you're Zillow bashing or not Zillow bashing, I can show you. I can show you the way. I can show you the help.
Yeah. describe what the LP Mama script is, which is people
Right.
people don't even know what the LP Mama script the LP Mama is,
Right.
but they all know the script, especially if you've been to Sales Edge. So man, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll make sure we hook up an email address, an office phone number, so if people want to reach out to you. That's super generous. I don't always just say to somebody, hey, how can they contact you?
Find me on Facebook, DJ and Lindsay on
Yeah.
Instagram, DJ and Lindsay on Facebook.
Super
Check us out.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take your son and go have some fun.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Thanks, guys, so much for listening, and we will talk to you on the next podcast.
If you want more information about this episode, including my show notes, mentions, links, and everything else, make sure you visit tomferry.com/podcast. That's tomferry.com/podcast. Thanks again, and talk to you soon.